Ciao! Today's recipe started with a leftover piece of French stick or French baguette, which we had when we went to the supermarket. We had some with cheese and pickle. And I was going to make some breadcrumbs, as I normally do with any leftover bread. And as it was fresh, I looked at it and thought, oh, maybe I can do something with that for my video today. And I decided to make stuffed peppers, which requires breadcrumbs, fresh breadcrumbs. So that's what I'll be making. From nowhere, today's recipe is going to be stuffed peppers. So let's get cracking. I decided to fill my peppers with sausages and beef mince. So I've got 3 chipolatas here, which I'm going to be using. They weigh 100 grams, and I will be removing the skin first thing. I'm using chipolatas because that is what I've got in the freezer, but you can use any sausages you like. Make sure you got a nice large bowl and start putting your ingredients in. I mentioned sausages and beef mince, so I'll be adding some mince as well. And here is the leftover of my French stick, which I have been soaking in milk, and has been in milk for a good hour now, so I'm very happy that it's all nicely and soaked. Use your hands and make sure that you squeeze as much milk out as possible. Entirely up to you how much you put in, but that was about 1/3 of a French stick when it was dry. My next ingredient is an egg. That will help binding the mixture all together. Next will be garlic. I will be adding 1 clove of garlic, and it is optional. I like garlic, so I will be using it, but if it's not your favorite ingredient, do not add it in. It's not always essential. Or you can put half in if you like. Or if you really like, you can put 2. But make sure that whatever you do, you chop it as fine as you can. And I will be adding it to the mix. My next ingredient is cheese. This is Edam I'm using today. I like it because it's quite stringy and also it's got lots of flavors. But you can use any cheese you like. Cheddar will also be very good, or if you want to follow an Italian sort of type of cheese, you can use provolone, which is also very nice, but entirely up to you really. Cheddar will be perfectly okay as well. A very important ingredient is going to be parsley. I use some frozen parsley, which I've got here, and I keep it in my freezer and it's always available. I chop it and it's always handy, but you're going to of course also use fresh parsley, entirely up to you, but be quite generous with it because it will add a nice flavor to the mix. I nearly forgot the Parmesan cheese. Also a little Parmesan cheese, not a lot at this stage. We will be using some more later, so just enough, maybe 10 grams or something like that. Pinch of salt. This is the equivalent of half a teaspoon, and of course also some pepper to taste. Entirely up to you how much you put in. I will put a decent amount. And lastly, a little amount of olive oil, just a little drizzle. Now sleeves up if you've got a jumper like me, and use your hands. The reason why I like using my hands for jobs like this is because you can really mix everything well together. You can of course use a spoon as well, it's just as good, but you get to feel all of the ingredients, especially because the sausages, look, if you look, the sausages are still whole and skin is not there, but you get to find what needs to be properly minced. And do not worry too much about the consistency, even if it's a little bit liquidy because maybe the eggs is bigger or maybe you use more milk. It doesn't really matter because they're gonna go inside the peppers, and inside the oven they will dry up a little. So here is my mix, it's ready. I'm going to be adding a few pieces of pepper in a little while, but I'll leave it to rest in the meantime. And let's move on to the peppers. I've got 2 nice large red peppers. I would recommend using red peppers. They are sweeter, they're also firmer, and they look much nicer. And using a knife, start cutting the head of the pepper around it. Again, you don't need to be precise, but try and be as straight as you can. You will see that if you've done the job well, it'll come off very easily. Delve inside it and make sure you do not pierce it. You do not really want to pierce it, you can avoid it. And remove the white bits from inside. In Italian, these are called anime, which means soul, by the way. Interesting name for it. As the white bit at the end is difficult to reach with a knife, I use a teaspoon and I try and scrape it off as much as I can with a teaspoon. Also, you can use a teaspoon to ensure that the sides are nice and clean. And here, this is what you're looking for. A nice clean pepper on the inside. If there is a little white left, doesn't really matter. As long as it's a little. The reason why I would remove the white, by the way, is because it's bitter in taste and it would potentially spoil a little bit the taste of the pepper at the end. These, which are the little circle from the top, I will be chopping them into very little cubes, tiny little pieces, and they will go inside with the rest of the mixture. And make sure that they are as little as you can possibly do them so that they will cook through. They will also look very nice when you cut into the pepper. And add them in. This time, to avoid getting my hands dirty again, I will be using a spoon to mix everything in. And now we are ready to stuff our peppers, and I'll start by pouring a little olive oil at the base of each pepper and a tiny little amount of salt. Make sure that the peppers are inside an oven-proof dish, and with the spoon start filling them in. Ensure that you apply some pressure and you pat it down nicely so that the entire cavity is filled with mince. Now, I'm going to do something which is optional, and I, however, highly recommend it, especially if you like eggs. I'm going to dig a little hole in here, in the inside of each pepper, and break it in an egg. And the same on the other one. Back to your hands again. So, using your hand, get hold of some of the mince and shape it in the size of a dome for the top of the pepper. And place it on top. And I'll do the same with the second pepper. Make sure that they are nice and steady so that they do not obviously fall over. And apply a little pressure with your hand to ensure that the mince stays on top. I have a little mince left over here, so I will be adding a good tablespoon of dry breadcrumbs, and I'll make a couple of meatballs as well. Ed ecco fatto, meatballs and peppers are ready. One last touch before they go in the oven is a little drizzle of olive oil on the peppers more than anything else, really. And they will be going in the oven at initially for the first 10 minutes 200 degrees. I want to make sure that especially as they got the egg inside, they cook nicely, and then I'll be turning the temperature down after 10 minutes to 160 degrees for another half an hour. So altogether approximately 40 minutes. See you then. Bye. Look at them. They look really lovely, like a dome. With two domes. Firstly, I got my little helper back. Hello, Julie.
It's tea time. I've
Tea
arrived.
time, yes, of course. So they're ready, but before we eat them, I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to be grating a little cheese on top, and like I did before, I've got some Edam. That one there as well.
Or maybe all over the tray.
Well.
Oh, combo.
Indeed.
I've made these for years and I've never done a combo of cheese on top. This is
There
a
you go.
special
Indeed, you're not
Tortellino
Tortellino.
effect.
And a little Parmesan cheese as well. Again, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to pop these under the grill on a fairly high temperature for about 3 to 4 minutes. Job done. They're straight out of the oven now, and I'm going to be waiting 5 minutes to let them cool down because they are absolutely piping hot, and then we will see what we've done.
But here they are. Cheese has melted a bit.
And here we are. I've placed them in a plate, including the meatballs, and I've also chopped my half in half, I should say. If you fancy your egg to be hard-boiled, leave them in for longer, maybe up to an hour. but we like our egg to be quite runny, so entirely up to your personal choices. They always remind me, stuffed peppers, of the summer in Sicily. This is something that, again, my mum used to do when we were little. We all used to love it. And there's the combo that is absolutely lovely, the meat and the pepper. It reminds me of summer. They're delicious, of course, they're delicious. Try them, very simple, very easy, and very fun to make, with or without the egg. Ciao, ciao, see you later. Bye.